Hi everyone, thank you for clicking on to this video. Welcome. It's a short reflection on the themes and the readings for the third Sunday of Advent. Peace be with you. God's peace, God's compassion, God's grace be with you. So there's a verse in St. Paul's letter to the Thessalonians which we'll have on this Sunday, which really captures for me the spirit of the third Sunday of Advent. This is what St. Paul says: "My brothers and sisters, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances." My brothers and sisters, rejoice always, never give up on praying, and in all circumstances find ways of being full of gratitude. Find things for which you can say thank you. For this is the will of God in Jesus. Well, wow, in 2020, that's a scripture that it seems quite hard. How do we do that? Build lives that are about being people of joy, being a joy giver, someone to find joy, reasons to rejoice in the presence of God right alongside us. Be people who just never give up on praying. Just not going to happen. That whatever life throws at us, we're just going to keep on praying, because that's what we do. That's who we are. And people who find in all circumstances just reasons, who notice the reasons, notice the people for which we can give thanks. That's the invitation. Well, if it was the exact opposite of that, brothers and sisters, despair always, give up praying, the second life is hard, and find reasons in all circumstances to complain and feel resentful. Well, that would be easy. A few years ago, Rohan Kandapa wrote The Little Book of Stress. It was a very funny antidote to that very popular book, The Little Book of Calm. And the humour of the book is like as if we needed advice about how to become more stressful people. We don't need to read a book. It's about how to be more stressful. We could write the book ourselves. But it's a really funny little book. So Rohan has suggestions for how to build more stress into your life, like never stop comparing yourself to other people. Notice all their good points and your own failings, and jot those down. Always compare. Never stop comparing yourself with others, what they have, how they look like, how they're coming across, and just make the negative contrast for yourself. Compare and despair, as they say. Fill your to-do list with an unrealistic number of tasks and then berate yourself for not having achieved your goals. Have very high expectations of other people and what you think they owe you. And never for 1 second make allowances for struggles or frailties that they might have and which you know nothing about. And the really sound advice for becoming a more stressful and anxious person in the book is to just get a little notebook and write down all the cruel and hard and heartless things people have ever said to you or about you, and you can just note those down, and before going to sleep you can just think about those things and take that into your sleep. Yeah, you read it and you'll see all the things that we kind of do, with exaggerated and with humour, but there's elements of that we all do, and we're all more stressful and more unhappy people as a result. how might we be different? How might we be people who are full of joy? How might we be people who, in all circumstances, not just people who say our prayers, but we are a prayer? How do you do that? Your prayer is so constant that you're not just saying a prayer, that you are a prayer, you've become a prayer. How might we be people who incarnate prayer, who incarnate joy, and who in all circumstances incarnate the Eucharist, the way of being that is all about gratitude? This Sunday is the third Sunday of Advent, and we call it Gaudete Sunday, Sunday of Joy. And it's given this name because Advent is nearly over. Gaudete is a Latin verb, it's an imperative, and it means rejoice, telling you to rejoice. Gaudete Sunday, rejoice Sunday. Why? Well, one reason is that Advent is nearly over and it will soon be Christmas. That this year, however it's gone, is going to end in one way, which is our celebration of the birth of Jesus, the Nativity. But a deeper reason is that all of life and our whole existence, that cosmic Advent, is going to end in, well, it's not going to end in despair or just the heat death of the universe. No, ultimately it's going to end with an encounter with the living God, with compassion and mercy and grace incarnate. The advent of the whole world will end an encounter with Jesus. So there is reason to hope. There is a source of joy that's not about us, and there's a reason to become people of prayer. But what we're in right now is the waiting time. We're in the Advent time, but it will be over. That time is limited, and it must ultimately yield to an indescribable joy and hope. But in the waiting time, the poor wait for justice, the broken for healing, the sinner for mercy, the desperate, the abused, the addicted cry out in longing, all waiting. It's all Advent. In Gaudete Sunday we hear this call, in this kind of world, to be people of hope and joy, ceaseless prayer and gratitude. St. Paul says, the waiting will not last. The suffering and pain will not last. It will yield to Christ. Which is why he says, rejoice in the Lord always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all times. The Christian faith is the faith that looks into the abyss, the absolute horror, and comes back with a message of joy. Christ enters every hell. He descends into hell, and he returns with these words, peace, it is I, do not be afraid. And what Christianity is, or what it should be, is the proclamation of the great joy. One Orthodox theologian, Alexander Schmeerman, said the early church was the procession of life through the graveyards of the Roman Empire. It was the proclamation of the great joy, the overthrow of death and hell, and the announcement of the advent of Christ our God. And it begins the gospel with this announcement of the great joy. The angels announce it to Mary and the shepherds, the great joy. The Christian faith proclaims the great joy to a world of fear and shadows. This world cannot give you that joy. You can't manufacture it. It's not dependent on your moods or emotions. It doesn't go away when you doubt or disbelieve it, feel tired, angry, stressed out, because it doesn't come from you, it doesn't depend on you, it's not manufactured by you, and it doesn't come from this world. It has a transcendent source, which is Christ. It comes from the ever-present Christ. And the invitation is that there are ways of letting it just come to you. If you can find moments of stillness, you can breathe it, you can pray it in, and then breathe it out. You can walk with him who is the source of it all. St. Paul doesn't say, give thanks for all situations. Like, oh, yeah, I've just missed the bus. Great, I'll say thank you for that. No, it's a habit of mind, a strong habit of mind that can give thanks in all situations. As I say, it's not much fun being with chronic complainers, people who in all circumstances can find something to complain about. But to be with someone who has a heart that's truly shaped by gratitude, not in some cheesy way, but is genuinely just notices the goodness, the light, the grace, in even pretty bleak circumstances, and they sort of hone in on it. It's on their radar, and they can always pick it up. They're just such fun and life-giving and amazing company, and I'm not one of those people, but I'd like to be. Learn to give thanks in all circumstances. Why? Well, because in every situation Christ will be present, and you can train the eyes of your heart to see him. Some pretty unlikely people have noticed this. Oscar Wilde, in his play Lady Windermere's Fan, he has one of the characters say, we're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. This is just an amazing line. We're all in the gutter, but some of us are gazing at the stars. It's as if, we're all human. We all have this capacity to screw the best things up that we have. We all have this capacity to fall down, and sometimes we're just knocked down. We can be in the gutter of pain or sorrow or just our own brokenness. And some of us are just overwhelmed by that, but some of us even there are saying, look at the glory of this sky. And saying it, I feel like I'm betraying it. I can only just think of people who do that, and they are just awesome, and I'm not one of them, but I'd like to learn how to be one. You can gaze at the stars. You can gaze at the millions of ways in which Christ will be present in every situation, filling it with his uncreated light. In the Gospel for the third Sunday of Advent, there's this line, there was a man sent from God called John. He came as a witness to the light. That's John the Baptist. One of those people in this world who's just pointing to the light. Pointing to the light. His call to repent is like, just stop looking at the darkness. Just give yourself a holiday from all of the crap, all of the darkness, all the things that mug us. Just give yourself a vacation from that and turn to the light. It's just I'm talking now, this like late December sunshine just streaming into my window. Here was someone saying, look, hey, I know we're in the gutter, but we can look at this light. Have you seen it? God knows that this world needs John the Baptists. We need witnesses to the light. People who show us how to look up and look out to see Christ. In the book of Revelations, Jesus is called the morning star. At the end of every night, there he is, this morning star. He was there in the night too, but we just couldn't see him because of our inability to see through dark, but he was nevertheless there. But it's just when the dawn comes, there he is, the morning star. Every dark night must yield to the morning star, which is Christ. It's easy to live a stressed out, anxious filled life. It's our default setting. But on this Gaudete Sunday, Mary, the angels, John the Baptist, the prophets and the poets are daring us to see something different. My sisters, my brothers, there's a reason you can rejoice, always, because there's this joy that is always there. There's a reason you can pray without ceasing, because there's this compassion that does not end. My sisters and brothers, there is a reason you can give thanks in all situations, because there is this almighty grace that's going to save you, and he's coming, and he has not changed his mind about any of that.